Alright everyone, today we've got a video on rest times for hypertrophy and how long should we rest in between sets. Now, this is something I still see a lot of people just still fuck up on, and it's pretty simple, but again we're still stuck in the stone age with some of the way people are training. They're doing stupid shit like just having 1 minute rest in between sets, and you see a lot of programs that are out there like hypertrophy style training, and they think that you need to do high reps and then just short rest times like 1 minute or all that type of stuff just to get a pump. And there's more to it, there's more to hypertrophy than just getting a pump. It isn't just about that. So I'm going to get into it, rest times and recommendations, why we rest in between sets and all this type of stuff. So again, the first thing we always need to ask ourselves when it comes to resting in between sets is, why are we resting between sets? What's the whole purpose of it? For me, as a general statement, is the reason we rest in between sets for hypertrophy is to make sure that we're fully recovered before we go into the next set, so that we can produce maximal performance, which is then going to in turn give us more of a hypertrophic stimulus, because we've used the most amount of weight that we could with good technique and got the most amount of reps that we could, because we had enough recovery in between the set, which allowed us to push. Does that make sense? So that's a general statement of why we rest, but let's go into the minute details and each bullet point that we're looking for when it comes to why we rest. So first thing you're looking for is prime mover recovery. Now I'm going to use a bench press for an example for all of this, right? So let's say the prime mover of a bench press is the pecs, right? If we rest 1 minute or 2 minutes in between sets and the pecs are not ready to go again, the next set is going to be suboptimal, because again, the pecs are already fatigued. You're trying to rest 1 to 2 minutes. You might have got 8 reps on your first set. You'd only rest in 1 minute. You try and do another set and you only get 4 reps. It's not enough. You're shooting yourself in the foot. So we need to make sure prime mover is recovered and good to go. Okay, so second one is central nervous system recovery. Now, it's not just about the muscles being recovered. Sometimes it's the whole spinal cord to send the signal from the spinal cord to the brain to the muscles to contract. If that isn't firing properly, we're going to go into a set with suboptimal recovery, which is going to force poor performance. So again, just resting 1 minute is not going to give you enough central nervous system recovery in order to go into the next set. So let's say, for example, you could rest 2 minutes between a heavy set of bench press, but your nervous system might not be ready. The muscle could be ready, but the central nervous system isn't ready. That's where you start to creep into the 3-4 minute rest in between sets, because you're giving your nervous system a little bit more time to recover, so that your prime mover is good to go and the nervous system is good to go. You're not going to be able to tick those 2 boxes with just 30 seconds to a minute rest. No way. So that's number 2. Number 3, cardiovascular recovery. Now, I was using the example of a bench press, but it probably doesn't apply to a bench press as much unless you're totally out of shape. But let's take squats for example. If you do a set of 10 on squats, now you all know what I mean. If you try and rest 1 to 2 minutes in between a set of squats, and then you try to go back in and you do that set, sometimes it's not your muscles which are the limiting factor or the nervous system, it will be your cardiovascular system. If you're blowing out of your arse before you even get onto the barbell again, so how optimal do you think that set's going to be? If you're breathing extremely heavy, and it's nothing to do with your conditioning, you can have great conditioning, but if you're training squats hard, a heavy set of 10, I don't care how conditioned you are, 1 to 2 minutes after that, you're still a little bit out of breath, and again, that's going to limit your stimulus that you can give the next set if you're going in with your cardiovascular system being a limiting factor. So next checkbox, cardiovascular recovery. Prime mover is good to go, nervous system is good to go, and the cardiovascular system is good to go. They're the check marks that we're looking for. And also the final one is the synergistic muscle recovery. Now, let's take the bench press as an example. So the prime mover is the pecs. Now the synergist may be the delts and the triceps, the supporting muscles. your pecs may be good to go, but for some reason your delts or your triceps, you just feel a lot of lactic acid burning and builds up of lactic acid in the synergistic muscles. So your pecs may be ready to go after 2 or 3 minutes, but for some reason your tricep is it just feels like it's still burning. There's a lot of lactic acid in there, or your delts. So then if you go into the bench press, and again you're really trying to target the pecs, you're going to be limited by your tricep or the delt. And again, if the hypertrophy of the prime mover is the main goal, again we're shooting ourselves in the foot if the synergistic muscles are going to be the limiting factor. So again, we're looking for four check marks: prime mover recovery, central nervous system recovery, cardiovascular recovery, and synergistic muscle recovery. If all those are in check, we're good to go for a set, and then it's all about performance. If we can put our best possible performance into the next set, that's going to translate into a better hypertrophic stimulus and just better long-term gains, because you know I'm extremely big on beating the logbook and beating your performance from week to week over time. If we're just resting 60 seconds in between sets and we're trying to make it into some sort of conditioning workout, again it's going to be very, very hard to track, very hard to measure, very, very hard to make any meaningful progress training like that. So again, you're better off taking your rest times in between sets, trying to really focus on beating your logbook over time with controlled rest periods, and that's going to lead up to more gains instead of just trying to come in and get a bit of a pump on and a bit of a sweat and getting your heart rate up. There's more to training than that. If you're really focusing on cardiovascular conditioning, go and do that on a separate day or a separate workout in itself. Maintain your hypertrophy training and give yourself put the best foot forward at getting the best gains you can by having as much rest within limit as you possibly can. Now I'm going to get into rest time recommendations, because obviously we're not going to be sitting there for 10 minutes in between every set just to make sure that we're extremely fully recovered in every sense of the way. That's stupid. So let's get into it now. Example rest times now, just as a caveat straight away, you can't treat a squat the same as a cable bicep curl. That's just pretty obvious. Again, why is that? Look at the total muscles that are being used in a squat. You're basically literally using most muscles in your body. The demand on the cardiovascular system, the central nervous system, on a barbell squat is completely different than a fucking bicep curl on a cable. It's night and day difference. So with that in mind, just in general, your bigger compound lifts, your squats, deadlifts of all types, bench presses, rows, just your heavier sort of bigger compound lifts, you're generally going to be taking more rest times with them, 3 to 5 minutes at least. Sometimes on my heavier squat days, when if I've been doing sets of 10, sometimes I might need just a little bit more than 5 minutes. Sometimes it could be 6, but then that ensures that I have better performance in the next set. So all these gurus who are trying to tell you about taking 1 minute rest in between sets of squats or all that type of shit, I just like to see their physique and their performance, and I bet you it doesn't show, because that's just a bullshit way to train. So again, your bigger lifts, you're going to require a little bit more rest, just so you can go into the next set and put your best foot forward when it comes to performance. Now, as I say, smaller isolation stuff, again, you can't treat curls the same as squats, bench presses, all that stuff. So things like your bicep curls on a cable, dumbbells, your tricep push downs, extensions, calf raises, any sort of delt work like direct side raises, the cable lateral raises, anything like that, any sort of ab work. You're not going to need 5 minute rest in between sets of that. That's just stupid. But you're probably talking around at least 2 to 3 minutes. Again, it's just gonna allow you to put your best foot forward for each set to make them as stimulative as possible to get the hypertrophic effect, because that's what it's all about. I'd much rather you do 3 very, very good sets, taking close to failure with 2 to 3 minutes rest, than trying to do 6 sets with 1 minute rest, because ultimately that's just all the bullshit. Okay? And I think that's what a lot of the rest time problems come to fruition, because a lot of people are still they're just doing a lot of shit in the gym. They're going in and they're doing like 8 to 10 exercises with a minute rest. They're not going close to failure on nothing. So that's why you can train like that. If you're training hard, as we know, for hypertrophy, we need to be in that 0 to 4 reps in reserve. We're really pushing things close to failure. You're not going to need as many sets. So again, if you're doing, let's say we're doing a leg training session, if you're doing 4 to 6 like solid exercises, 3 sets of each with your good rest times in between, that's probably going to take you about 90 minutes, say for example, around 90 minutes, but that's a solid session. these people will look at that and go, oh no, that's too long. But then they'll go and do 8 exercises with 1 minute rest, and it might take them an hour, and they've got a sweat on and they think they've trained, but ultimately it's all the bullshit. I'd rather you focus on quality instead of quantity. That's what people fuck up on as well. So the mistakes that people make with rest times, it goes in hand with their overall training design and their outlook on training. They don't understand the progressive overload and sort of, right, we're trying to beat performance from week to week. That is the catalyst for all of this. So if we're just treating our training sessions as exercise and just to come in and get a sweat without really raise our heart rate and just rest in 1 minute and in between sets, just to bounce in between in and out of exercises, we're missing the forest from the trees with this. There's a big difference between getting a workout done in 40 minutes and then we're training for optimal performance and the best results possible. If you're someone who's short on time and you need to train with these short rest times, that's fine, but just understand that you are not getting the best potential gains that you possibly could. Longer rest times in between sets are shown to provide better hypertrophic gains. Again, case in point, look at any of the best bodybuilders, any of the best lifters. You will not see anybody who's remotely strong or remotely jacked who is just always preaching 30 seconds or 1 minute rest times in between sets of everything. They are feeding you full of shit. Most people are taking at least 2 to 3 minutes and upwards of 5-6 minutes on the bigger stuff, okay? Proof is in the pudding. Fuck off, don't listen to all these gurus who are talking shit, because that's what they are doing, just talking shit. That's it. So, again, make sure you're taking your rest time as a general, just to finish the whole video. Just train it and go when you're ready. Like, I know that might sound super simple, but if you do a set of something, just go when you feel ready. That might be 3 minutes, that might be 4 minutes. Just go when you feel ready. Take these, check all of these boxes off, and you'll be good to go. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? So let me know what you think. Any more questions, just let me know. Drop them down below, and I'll get some more videos out for you. Alright? Talk to you soon.